Hey everybody, Leah Klett here with the Christian Post, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Grammy-nominated modern hymn writer Keith Getty. Well, let's just jump right in and tell us about Sing an Irish Christmas, what viewers can expect, and sort of bringing the show to the stage.
Well, as you know, there are many Christmas shows across America, and our show, it kind of makes sense, is to celebrate the hymns of Christmas. We don't do Rudolph and Santa, it's the great hymns of Christmas. But in the Irish tradition, they're just a ton of fun. So the first half of the show is always like an Irish festival, or like an Irish party. Then the second half of the show is a lessons and carol service where we read through the story. Both halves last about 50 minutes. It's not too long. But it really is, to get to do it with our band and all their virtuosity and the fun is just fantastic.
What does it mean to you to bring this show to the Museum of the Bible? Because your biggest show will be held in DC at the Museum of the Bible.
Well, it's just a really fantastic week. That week, just before that, we play Carnegie Hall, which will be the eighth time to have done the show at Carnegie Hall, which will be fantastic. And I think that's a sold out show. And then we're going to play 2 nights at the museum, which are I believe are both sold out. And then we finish with the Anthem in DC, which I think there's a few tickets left for that one. And it's pretty exciting. I think it means a lot of things because our Christmas story, the second half, reads the Bible. It reads through the story. We hope it's a highly entertaining show, but it's about that. And then our whole life's work as hymn writers is about helping the next generation of people internalize and love the Bible and love Jesus more through the songs that they sing. So we got, long before the museum was even started, Kristen and I, where we're playing on Saturday, Kristen and I have a picture of the two of us with hard hats on before they even started building there, because obviously they'd called us to tell us it was happening. We were so excited. We come up to DC to see it. And so we've been involved with the Museum of the Bible. We've had a lot of the Green family in our own home in Nashville telling us about it and working with them on it. And of course, we'll be doing, while we're up there, we'll be hanging out with a lot of them. We're doing a service with Steve Green. Kristen's doing an event with his wife as well, just on the side, just because we so love the partnership that we have with him, and so love this vision making the Bible come alive to people for the next century. I mean, it's essentially doing, in one sense, doing what songs are doing.
What are some Christmas traditions that you guys have with your four little girls?
So much of it. I mean, I'm not meaning to sound corny, but so much of it, I would say, is either spending time together or
Yeah.
just singing. We just love music. We've always loved to sing. And it's so important for Christians across America all year round to know the songs that their children are singing. We are made to love songs. In Genesis 1, the world was sung into being. In the last chapter on Revelation, the promise of the future is singing to our Creator and Redeemer. 20% of the Bible itself is just pure song and poetry. And it's not the birth of Jesus was announced to the world in 4 songs. And so this is when he was born, there were angels singing. And so we are wired to love songs, to our whole beings. One of our pastor friends in DC is called Mark Dever. And I've never met somebody who is more passionate about preaching, but he always says when he begins planning each week his Sunday service, he reminds himself that the congregation that he prays for, that he loves, that he serves, that he teaches, on their deathbeds will not want his sermons, but they will want the songs that were dearest to them. And so, I think the encouragement that we constantly are wanting to give families in America in this age when the Christian faith and the Christian family is under attack, let's stop being negative and defeatist or cynical. Let's fill our own lives and our families' lives up with the joy of the Lord, the truths of the gospel. And there's no better season to start that than at Christmas. So we're going to have our kids on stage in the show. They're going to come on in the Museum of the Bible and do a song with us. And then they're going to stay in for the singing of Silent Night and Harmony. And they've all learned their parts. So they're pretty excited about that.
I love that. Well, what I love about your music is it's almost like a catechism. What is our hope in life and death? Christ alone. What is our only confidence? That our souls to him belong. It's this question and answer. Talk about using music as a tool for discipleship, where we do have questions. We can go back to these things that we've memorized.
No, that's right. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. You seem to understand what most pastors in America today don't understand, and that is, if you want to catechize, if you want people to carry something to their deathbed, if you want to understand something, it's better to sing it than to teach it, because teaching it requires such a level of memory that human beings aren't even capable of. Whereas actually, if they're singing something, they're singing it to themselves. They internalize it for the rest of your life. If I was to give you 50 Bible verses, um, I'm willing to bet that 40 of them you would know because you sang them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it is. So we try to do that with the songs. You picked up Christ, Our Hope in Life and Death. Each year we write a new Christmas song and add that into the show. But that's the hope. That's the hope, is that the vision for our organization is, first of all, with the Sing hymnal coming out in 2025, that we will help people understand the big picture of the God of the Bible, not just a God that loves our praises, and not just a God that's kind of like loving in a kind of a generic way, but actually all the different things that the Psalms, which are the Bible's songbook, tell us about God, all the things we learn about God in Scripture, and also that we write songs that are about every part of human emotion. Because this Christmas, there's lots of Christians who are delighted to sing God's praise, but there's also a lot of Christians who are, feeling very fearful, who are feeling very downcast, who are feeling desperate, and the Psalms reflect that, because we see the honesty and integrity of the human emotion in the Psalms. So we want people to feel that. We want people, both in this concert this weekend, when they watch the live stream. And we're hoping this year to get to 150 countries around the world watching the live stream. We were 100 last year, and
Wow.
but we want people tuning in on their computers or their TVs or their big screens or their iPads or iPhones, wherever they are. And we want to touch people, knowing that many are coming with different emotions this year. It's funny, we were in a Baptist church last night, and one of our very Baptist friends said, "Why do you do the 9 lessons and carols in the second half? It's a little, it's cool, but it's a little bit formal." And we said, the reason we do that is because everybody in the audience tonight, we don't know their religious background, or if they even have a religious background. We don't know what their favorite kind of music is. We don't know emotionally where they're at today or where they're at in their life. And the thing about it is, doing a 9 lessons and carols for the second half of the show, it centers everything on the truth and the story of the Bible. And
Mm-hmm.
then we try and create beautiful things around it. And then everybody can meet it where they are. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if we try to presume an emotion on them, or try to presume an emotional roller coaster, it just to many people, it will feel contrived.
Mm. Is that sort of the mentality that you have when writing a song? Let's focus on, just the biblical principles and not sort of this emotionalism that we see in a lot of modern worship music.
I think it's big stones, small stones. I mean, hey, I'm an artist. I'm a very emotional person. I live in a house of 5 women. I can assure you there's no shortage of emotions. But the point about the Psalms and the great hymns of history is they tell us about the wonder of God.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell us about the glory of, so let me start that again. They tell us about the glory of God and the wonder of the Christian story, and this gospel story that we have in Christ. And then after that, our emotions play a part in it. And so we tell the story beautifully, because we don't just tell it in a clunky kind of way. We tell it in a beautiful way, and then naturally our human emotions respond. But it's that way around. It's the emphasis is on God. The emphasis in the story. Our response is secondary, but it's real, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. What kind of response have you gotten from your Christmas shows so far? Because I know that you've done a couple. You were just in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My parents got to see you guys. Um, so what are you hearing from people, both believers and non-believers?
Um, no, a whole range of things. Um, so right across the board, the responses are interesting. We brought our girls in for a song in the first half. They stay in for a couple of songs in the first half, and at the start, as a musician, I was really I'm not sure this is a good idea. Even as a dad, I wasn't sure it was a good idea. And
Yeah.
all my girls want $10 to perform as well, which is it's a lot of money
A
in
lot of money.
this
Yeah.
current economy. But because of the family hymn sing, and the family hymn sing, which went all the way through COVID, every night there are tons of people for whom that was their solace during that season. And so coming out of COVID and then seeing our girls, as badly behaved as the little one is actually a really special moment for them. So that's been an important thing to learn. At the other end, in terms of musical excellence, the band is better than it's ever been. 2 or 3 new players and new singers, new fresh sounds. And I mean, things like, I think, New York Times put it in a recommended list this year for the second year. So that's great. Lots of things like that. I wasn't flattered that they put it in last year because there was less shows in New York, but it was the second one they listed in the Carnegie this year as a recommended show. So for the Christmas season. So that kind of thing. You've been doing it for so long and gradually building relationships and building credibility, is really exciting.
Yeah, I love to see it because you guys are so biblically sound. Your theology is really excellent, and you're putting this through music, and you're on these massive, massive stages, just reaching millions with the gospel.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting every night, and we love live music. But again, I would also encourage people to tune into the live stream from the Museum of the Bible. As I said, that in terms of numbers, that event reaches more people than anything else, we do each year, and so we're very excited about that.
And Keith, one more question. What is your hope for the future of worship music?
Well, I can't speak to what others do, but as an organization, I can tell you that we are hoping by 2025 to have completed the Sing hymnal, which is the greatest hymns in history, but many of the greatest hymns in history, trying to pull them all together. But it's also creating a new psalter, a new collection of psalms for churches to sing, a new liturgical songs for churches to sing, and that's really a project of my life. And then the other thing we do with our foundation is to try and encourage biblically rich singing around the world, both with new writers and with translations and with many of the partnerships we have with the Sing Conference. So that really is the 2050 goal, and just continuing to do that. So it's hard. I mean, to be honest, it's hard work. You get up every day, you go again, and you just keep writing. And most of the songs you write aren't very good, but you keep trying, and every so often one turns up that isn't as bad as the rest.
Yeah. And congratulations on the Grammy nomination. I just was so excited when I saw your names come through the ballot.
It was made. It's the funniest thing because it was made like in the carport in our house in Ireland, and then one of the tracks was recorded in a fish and chip shop, and we'd never even entered for the Grammys before because we're just so focused on church music. I said, like, I don't want to get involved in all that stuff because I see too many people kind of like it's their whole life. So we just, as a one-off, went, yeah, sure, we'll put something forward. So it's a bit funny, but we're against Willie Nelson, so we're not going to win.
Well, fantastic. I love what you guys are doing. I always love to talk to you. Just refreshes me.
Well, you refresh us because I was exhausted this morning and your energy is fantastic.